Okay, we got a long cook ahead of us today. We're going to do a pork butt, and it's probably going to take 7 or 8 hours and then a couple hours cooling in the warming box. So we'll be right back, and we're going to get on this, Eat It Nation. Okay, we got just short of a 10-pound pork shoulder roast here, called Boston butt, pork butt, whatever. It's the upper part of the shoulder. But right here's the money muscle. They don't really have this trimmed off very well, but you can always tell the money muscle because it's going to have the fat, the marbling's running in this direction on it. And around here, you can see there's there's 3 tubes. This is going to be some really good meat right here. When it's done, we'll pull those out separate. So the first thing I'm going to do, my attention is going to go to this fat cap. Now, there's 2 fat caps in here, and I'm going to trim this first one off. There's a thin layer of bacon, and we'll see if we can get down to that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Just got to keep going at this. You got to go slow until you find that layer. Once you find that layer, you'll be it goes a little quicker. You're starting to see it right there. Pretty thick fat cap. There it is. See, I'm starting to see it right in here. We want to take it down to that. You're kind of getting the idea. When I get this trimmed off, I'll be back. I'll start to inject it at that point. Okay, this is what it ended up looking like. You can kind of see the thin layer of bacon, but there's still a fat cap underneath of that, so we still got plenty of protection. I also trimmed up the money muscle a little bit, opened it up a little bit so I can get some more seasoning around it. So we're going to start out, we're going to inject this thing, and we want to make sure we get the money muscle good, and we want to make sure we get up in them tubes. There's also some good meat up here inside this blade bone. Other than that, we're going to get to sticking this thing and swelling him up. You remember, whenever you inject something, it's going to squirt everywhere. You hit the right spot. Down these tubes good. I don't know if I said it already or not, but I'm using Creole butter, and then when it comes time spritz it in the cooker, I'll use pineapple juice. It gives it a little bit of different flavor profile. I kind of like it. It's just different. You don't want to do everything the same. I use apple on a lot of stuff. And this is a pretty forgiving piece of meat to barbecue because of the amount of fat content that it has. I really prefer a picnic, which is the lower part of the front leg on the pig. It doesn't have near the marbling or fat in it. And I kind of like that leaner meat. I'm going to finish injecting this, and we're going to season it. I'll be back when it's time to do that. See you in a few. Okay, it's injected. I've already seasoned the bottom and the sides. I'm going to do the top so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay pretty simple on this one. I'm just going with some, of course, sea salt here. Get down in our crack. I opened up for the money mussel. And then a little bit of, this is a coarse grind black pepper. You know, you can get as crazy as you want up in here. I've done it just today, just kind of feel like going back maybe a little bit more simple, letting the pork flavor come through on it. I mean, it'll still be good. We've got all good stuff in it and on it, so. And some onion powder and some garlic powder. Pepper and the salt. And the paprika. This is mainly for color. When you get out there in the smoke, it's going to give us that nice color. And the last thing we're going to put on this is this turbinado sugar right here. You can use brown sugar if you want. It's up to you. You just put it on there pretty heavy. It'll melt. It's basically a raw sugar. Now, when that sits for about 45 minutes or so, long enough for me to go out and start a couple chimneys of charcoal and bring the cooker up to temp. I'll come back and I'll show you what this looks like, because it's going to look really good at that point before it even gets cooked. So, see you in a few. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes. It's 275. I'm going to control my heat all the way up here. Just up here. It's the only thing I mess with. Hold that at 275. I've got a water pan on this end of the smoker. I've got my blanket on my firebox. I've got another blanket here just in case, because it's windy out here. We're about mid-50s. We're calling for maybe some strong thunderstorms this afternoon, but we'll be ready. It doesn't matter. We're going to make this thing work. All right, take a look at this and see. You can see how this is all the seasonings have sweated in. It really looks good already, and it's really going to look good when it's done. So we're going to throw this in the smoke in here. I'm putting this in with the money mussel facing to this side, away from the heat. So we're going to come back and look at this in about an hour. We'll keep an eye on the temperature, make sure it doesn't spike or fall off the edge of the earth on me. So we'll see you in a little while. All right, Eat It Nation, we're going to take a look at this. We're holding 275. I've been keeping good applewood smoke to it. I like applewood pecan on my pork, hickory on my beef, but since this is pork, that's what we got. Oh, look at that. Spray it down with some pineapple. This is just to keep it moist. And looks like my pump ain't working very well. Let's go get another one. I'm going to put some more water in the water tray in there. And we're going to come back and do that again here in 30 minutes. See you then. Okay, another 30 minutes has gone by. I didn't say anything about this the last time. I basically took this single wall cooker and laid these welding blankets on top, and it insulates it. And I have used this when it's 30 degrees outside, and well, we really got some smoke going. My pineapple juice was plugging up my spray bottle, so going back, we're just going to mop it. This is really getting probably pretty close. Once the color's where you want it, that's when you want to wrap it. And it's awful pretty looking right there. Okay, Wait another 30 minutes. Do that again. All right, we're back. It's had 3 hours of smoke. You can see it's dark. Yeah, we're about 120 in the main part, but down here in the money muscle, looking at about 144. We're looking for 195. And there's been times that I've had to cut that money muscle off and bring it in and put it in separate in the warming box and let the rest of it continue to cook. What's going to happen is if you, 195 is really our target temp. If you start getting up over 200, 205, it will turn mushy. Won't be a good chew. That being said, most people may not care. So we're going to take the rest of our pineapple juice here. And I've got this sitting on a rack in the pan. I'm going to put pineapple juice up to the bottom of the rack. Cover it with foil. And at this point, we don't need any more smoke in the pit. All right, we're 7 hours in. Our money muscle is showing 195, so we're going to cut it off. Which the bad part is it's going to cause the other probably to stall. But I'm going to get some of this au jus out of there, and that's just a fancy name for meat juice. We want to get some of that over into here. See if we can't cut that thing out of there. It's so close to the tubes, you got to be real careful. Alright. There it is. Just a little bit more juice in there. Okay, here we are. We got decent bark. We're going to go into this thing. We're going to start tearing it apart. This is kind of what it takes. We're looking for the good pieces of meat. You see how tender that is when you tear it apart? Just got to go in here. Start grabbing at it. Start pulling it out. Alright. I'm going to show you something here. You saw how easy that bone came out of there. This right here is our horn meat. You can see it kind of looks like a horn. Put that off to the side. This is the meat that was in the blade bone. That's a good piece of meat. We're still digging and we're looking. All this meat that comes off while you're looking, that's going to make your pulled, your barbecue sandwiches. But I'm telling you, if you don't go looking for these pieces of meat right here, you're cheating yourself. So I think I've got this pulled apart about as much as I can with these gloves. I'm going to switch to another set of gloves, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've switched gloves. I'm going to go in here and see if we can't find these tubes. Now if you remember, that one's hot. I cut a lot of the fat cap off of this. You can see why they're called a tube. They look like a tube. I'm not that big of a fan of fat. You can see you got a good bark. Got a really good, got good smoke in it. This is going to be good. But you know what? You can't have any, and I can. So, you try this, I think you'll be happy, and you can put anything you want on it. And like I said, it's just a matter of going in there and finding that good meat. Right now, it's time to eat it. Alright, this is all our best meat. We got the money muscle, the horn, we have the tubes, and we got some bark pieces here. I haven't put any finishing seasoning on this, and I'm telling you, I want real simple. It got a good smoke ring. I put smoke on it for 3 hours. This stuff's really good. But I mean, barbecue sauce, whatever your preference is. I mean, maybe just a little bit, maybe seasoning salt, just something. This really doesn't need anything. Just enjoy.